Okay guys, so ignore, I just threw my hair up. So basically, Octo and I have been saving up for a new glider baby. And so I actually am on my way to pick him up right now. We've been saving up for a male neutered platinum. And so we're really excited. We haven't gotten a new baby. You know, we've had babies born and we've sold them, but we haven't picked up a new baby in like 2 years. So I'm on my way to go get him. So yeah, I'm really excited. We're gonna try to maybe document this bonding process. And yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go get him. Hey guys, it's Wyndham. Back for video Wednesdays. And you saw my clip before my intro. You know that I have some fun news. We have a new little baby. He's a Joey, probably about 8 to 10 weeks. Just got neutered a few days ago, so he's a little, you know, but he is so sweet. So he's just gonna go sleep in there, hopefully. Probably potty on me first. Anyway, so I figured that since we're kind of starting fresh with a new little baby, I would make a video just about, I guess, like the starting process, what it's like to start with a Joey, some basics that you need. So I think he's going potty on me right now, but he'll probably just chill out in a few minutes. Anyway, so I wanted to talk to you just about the basics that you need for a Joey. I'm gonna take you guys on this bonding process as we get started with him. We haven't picked out a name yet. Octo and I are still kind of deciding on that. So as you see, I just stuck him. He's a Joey. So because they're, you know, if they've been handled and you get them from the right person, as a baby, they should just, hold on a second, go. You should just be able to stick them in your shirt, and like he slept in my shirt the whole way home. So he's kind of waking up a little bit because I got him out, and so yeah, he's gonna probably go back to sleep after he kind of probably goes potty and gets his bearings. Give him a little snack actually. Have a snack in my shirt. Anyway, just gave him a snack on my shirt. So I kind of wanted to talk to you about, I guess, just what you start out with the baby and just the bonding process and keep you guys updated. So as you've seen before, I've talked about how I prefer to do a bonding process by sticking a glider down my shirt and not using a bonding pouch. Now, and I kind of talked about the reasons why I noticed why a bonding pouch just wasn't getting my glider used to my hands. It was not getting my glider used to sitting on my body. It was kind of just training a glider to not mind people being around, which is fine, but if you want that type of relationship that you see usually from your breeder or for anybody that has a glider walking around with the gliders on their body, I noticed the biggest difference by sticking it down my shirt. So he's a little neutered male. He's a platinum. He's so cute. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to have a new little baby. I'm excited to have a neutered male just because he's gonna be chill and he's not gonna go through puberty and then kind of freak out like other gliders do that aren't neutered. I'm really excited because I love platinums. I love their color and I love their temperament. So anyway, there's just a little bit of info for you. Platinums are gonna be a little bit more expensive, a little bit more pricey. You wanna find a breeder that specializes in platinums. But if you can find a breeder that specializes in platinums, you're good to go. Make sure they send you pictures. When you're looking for a glider, I'm gonna start from square one, okay? So when you are looking for a glider, I really recommend probably looking for a glider that isn't a standard gray. And the only reason I recommend that is because I think a lot of people that have standard grays that they are selling or rehoming, I don't think that they take as good care of them. For you to get a quality animal, usually with knowledge of the parents and the temperament and going back a few generations, usually you're gonna get a breeder that breeds in specific colors. Now, can you get a standard gray that's perfect and well taken care of? Yes. We've had standard grade babies that are great, and we've also met standard grade babies that are not great, that people mistreat. So I definitely recommend possibly looking to go outside the scope of normal standard gray as far as your color. And that means you're gonna have to invest some money. That's just the way that it is. If you want a fancy color, you're gonna have to spend a little bit more. White faces should be around the same amount of money as a standard, because they're about the same as far as rarity. White faces used to be a lot more rare, but because it is a dominant gene, they are becoming kind of more out there. Anyway, so some things to look for when buying a new glider. So when you contact a breeder, if they have multiple breeding pairs, if they have more than 3 breeding females, they should be USDA licensed. You should be able to look them up. They should have their breeding license. That's just how it is. They should not be willing to sell you a baby before it is 8 weeks out of pouch. And most likely they'll want to wait until the baby is 10 weeks out of pouch. That is so fine. The tail should be fluffy. The nose should not be purple. And you should be able to pick up this baby. If you cannot pick up the baby without it biting you more than once, if it just bites you once, it might just be a little scared. If the baby is biting you multiple times, you don't want that baby. You should be able to meet the baby in person before you have to spend any money, unless you're just putting down a deposit. But the deposit should be refundable if you decide to back out, but the baby should be reserved for you with a deposit, okay? You don't want a breeder that feeds them cat food. You don't want a breeder that feeds them only pellets. If they have a little bit of pellet as a staple in the cage all the time, that's usually fine, but you do not want it to be only pellets. And the thing is too, is pellets as a diet, they're just, I've talked about it before, it's just not the best diet. That's just how it is. It's not the best diet. So you want a breeder that's knowledgeable. You want a breeder that when they send you pictures, they send you a video, they send you pictures. You never want to buy one from somebody that is asking you fees to ship a glider. You don't want to have to ship a glider. You should be able to find one local, someone willing to drive. And honestly, if they're not willing to ask you questions either about the research that you've done or your experience with gliders, I wouldn't buy from them, because people that care about their babies ask the right questions. Sometimes you can get started with a starter cage. My personal breeder, he'll give you a starter cage to start out with, or a bigger cage for you to upgrade to. And you know, starter cages are great for joeys. If you're rehoming an adult, you don't want a starter cage, you don't want a small bird cage, you want something bigger, because that's just what they need. You can get one, but only, again, I've said this before, only if your glider has the temperament where they're happy and they're not depressed, and also only if you work from home. If you do not work from home and you also have a glider where you're noticing that they're depressed, get a second glider, or they're going to die from depression. They're going to overgroom themselves, they might not eat, they're just going to get sick, and that's the worst thing that you want for your new friend. So I know that Frost Prime, he only has one, but guess what? He and his girlfriend, they both have veterinary experience. He is a streamer, so he's home all day, and the baby is on him for like over 12 hours a day. And he seems happy, he seems healthy, and that works for them and their lifestyle. But for the most part, I would recommend getting at least 2, and I would recommend getting 2 neutered males or 2 females. If you get a male and a female, and the male's not neutered, you're gonna end up with babies, and that's probably more than most of you guys wanna handle. People don't recommend just having babies. I personally would not recommend my friends having babies. The only reason that we do is because we work hand in hand with the USDA licensed breeder. If you have a breeder that you're working with that gives you lineage, ask for the lineage to be sent to you before you go home with the glider. If you go home with the glider and the money leaves your hands, you might not get that lineage that you're requesting. Someone could advertise, say that they have lineage, and then they don't, and then you basically have a glider that you don't know if they have lineage or not. They could have lied about it. Is lineage necessary? No, but is lineage helpful and appropriate if you're buying a recessive gene glider? Yes. If you're buying a leucistic, if you're buying an albino, if you're buying a platinum glider, you want the lineage and you want the heritage, because these recessive genes oftentimes are inbred with babies, and that could lead to a lot of health problems. So if you have someone that's selling a glider and they don't know who the parents of their baby are, you don't want that glider, because you don't know if it's a brother and sister, you don't know if they're related at all, if it's interspecies, you don't know any of that stuff. And that's what we as a glider community are trying to avoid. Lineage sometimes is kind of overhyped, I feel, especially if you get a standard gray, but at the same time, it also offers confidence in your genealogy and confidence in your glider's health and the expectations of their lifespan. So it offers that confidence. It also just kind of gives some backup to a breeder's credentials and how valid they are and how well they take care of their animals. But the problem is that you could have someone that's just as irresponsible. They could have a registered lineaged mosaic named Tim, and then Tim could pass away and they could have another mosaic that's not lineage, but they could also call it Tim. Just because you have lineage and you have records, it doesn't always mean that you have a kind, responsible breeder. So it's kind of up to you to determine, is lineage necessary, and is this really where I want to go with this, or is this person without lineage who's licensed but has knowledge of the parents, knowledge of the health, pictures, videos, years of experience? That's going to be up to you to make that call, just as a prospective glider owner. Now, whenever you bring the glider home, not every baby is going to go right to sleep in the shirt like mine is. He's just chilling. He has his little snack. He had a snack, now he's sleeping. Anyway, so just some things. If you have a starter cage, it does not need to be this big. It needs to be like, a starter cage needs to be like 2 feet wide. It can be 1 foot tall for a starter cage, but that's only for maybe the first month. After your glider is full grown, you definitely want to upgrade. That's just kind of the necessity of these animals, okay? If you're not willing to get a big cage, get a hamster. All right, so just a few things that you're gonna want to have. Okay, so obviously you're gonna want to have fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, as well as a staple. I love shogi soup. HPW is okay. My glider's fur was a little bit more scraggly on it, at least instant HPW. I know that TPG diet is good. I'm not a super big fan of the pet glider, just how they kind of monopolize the database, the TPG lineaged database. I'm not too happy about how they do that. I'm also not too happy with how they have so many gliders. I feel like there's not really a way for you to really bond with the parents or really get to handle the babies. I know several people that have bought from the pet glider and their gliders were kind of traumatized. They had some issues. They weren't socialized. They had trouble bonding, and that's not really what you want. So you kind of have to make that decision for yourself. It's not my favorite place to get a baby. I would prefer to get one from a breeder that I know hands-on, that has, you know, record and parents. It kind of depends on what you're looking for as far as your companion. So I like to get some yogurt bites to kind of start out with. They love yogurt bites, but don't overdo it or their poop is literally going to be white, okay? Their poop is going to be white. You're going to have sticky melted yogurt all over their fur. We also have things like dried papaya. Put some stuff to the side. Dried papaya is awesome. You can get little bags of these. Just make sure that, you know, you don't have a ton of extra added sugar. Make sure that they're natural. They like sunflower seeds, just different kind of snacks. They like sunflower seeds because they can kind of bite into them and open them. Try not to get over salted, just because, you know, it's an animal that you don't want consuming a lot of salt. So you want treats. That's going to get them used to your hands. You want to hold them in your hands while you feed them treats. You also, I'm trying to think, you also want to kind of give them a little bit of space. I'm bonding right now because it's kind of our first day, but probably tomorrow in the morning I'm going to give him some space, let him get his bearings. I'm going to set up his cage in a few minutes. You want things like, this is a toy. You want toys in their cages. You can see it's basically just like a tube that he can play in. It's got ropes. They like to undo knots, maybe tie knots in these. They like to undo knots. and they like to pull fabric out of things. They need toys, they need stimulation. You want a wheel in your cage. There are different brands of wheels. You want to make sure that it doesn't have a bar in the middle because their tail can get caught and it can be really dangerous. You want, I'll just send you the sticker off this stupid thing. Oh my goodness gracious. Barely has a sticker off. Basically you want these for water. You don't want a kind with a spring in it because their tongue can get stuck. You want a kind with a little, like a ball that rolls back in it. You don't want their tongue to get stuck. And this also helps because if you have like a little bowl of water and you put too much water in, especially babies can drown. Okay, so at the bottom of the cage, because you need to collect their poop, I like these, personally. I like fabric. It is a fleece mat. It's covered in, had it in the corner a second ago, and it was like, it's clean, but it's next to a cage, and so some sunflower seeds got thrown on it. But so I order mine from Etsy. You can get custom sizes. You can lay them side by side in a long cage, or you can get long ones. Basically, this is just basically fleece that is multi-layered, that is going to catch the pee, the liquid, etc. So it's nice because it means that I don't have to clean my entire cage every single time that it starts to smell weird. I don't have to clean and wipe down everything. It starts to smell bad every 2 days. I can just pull this out, shake it off. If the only thing that smells bad is the food, I can put it back in. If it smells a little bit too much like pee, I can pop it in the wash. I let it hang dry and I stick it back in. And I've got others that I rotate out. So I prefer this to getting any type of litter that you would put in the bottom of the cage, just because this is so much easier and simpler to keep clean, and it honestly absorbs smell a lot better than any type of litter that I've used. And I've used puppy pads, I've used loose litter, I've used all of that, and this is the best as far as absorbing smell. I like using a glider kitchen for food, but in the very beginning you can use an open dish to put your food in. The first few days, what I like to do is if you have pellets, just a handful, just for them to have something to eat the first few days. But I like to get 2 apple slices for a baby. If you're putting a baby in by itself, 2 apple slices, no seeds. Apple seeds are toxic, okay? So 2 apple slices, no seeds, no core, de-seeded, decored, and I stick it in there because they're gonna get the pectin. And the pectin is really good, especially right now. His poop is really loose. It's really loose poop, it's really soft, because he's stressed out, because, you know, he's been traveling and, you know, he's got a new home and a new mom, and so he's just kind of a little panicky. So the pectin is just really gonna kind of help them with their poop keeping solid, making sure they're not dehydrated, etc. So every glider that I have started out with pectin, that I haven't introduced to any citrusy, other types of fruits too soon, they've all flourished. But you only want to do the apple with the pectin and not other fruits. You only want to do that the first few days because you do want them to have a balanced, varied diet. You do not want to only do apples for the rest of their lives. Like, no. It's fine if you're traveling and you need someone to come in, and so you pre-cut apples and a few different fruit, and so they end up having apples every day for a bit. But like, they need, their diet requires them to have calcium, their diet requires them to have protein, etc. So you also want to have a sleeping pouch, and you can see it's got little rings on here for you to hang their pouch in. Obviously this is very well loved. It is clean, but whenever you start using a pouch enough, it's gonna start to fray. So basically, yeah, that's kind of what you start out with. You need treats to start out with. I also stick them in my shirt, but you do want a bonding pouch to go out in public with, which are like these. So you can see it zips closed. It's got a little mesh here. So I can wear it, you know, but yeah. So I'm really excited. Let me see if I can get him out. He's a little sleepy. That's okay. And that's how you can tell that you've gotten a really good baby, is look how sweet he is, and he's so quiet. So you can tell that you have a really good baby is if they're fine. They don't get mad when you wake them up and you pull them out and then you just stick them down in your shirt. Anyway, guys, so I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited to give you guys updates. I'm really excited to kind of go on this journey with you guys. You might be seeing some different things about our environment going on in the next few months because we are in the process of moving again. Anyway, so thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for being patient as I'm trying to release new videos. Yeah, and so I'm excited and keep you guys updated, and I'll see you next time.